Hey everybody, GC Performance here, back on the video, and today we're doing a test between tubeless setup versus tube setup, and we're gonna figure out what is a more efficient ride. I get this question asked a lot. As you guys know, I run a very high tire pressure, I'm very old school, and I still run tubes. A bunch of people always ask me, why not go to tubeless? And so today's test, we're gonna be trying to figure that out. My bike's set up with a pair of WINSPACE Hyper 50 wheels, and I'm running a tubeless setup on them at about 72 PSI. That is a pretty normal PSI now people are running, which I think is way too low, but we're gonna figure that out. And then also, that is about the maximum air PSI on these new hookless setups that everyone's running. So I wanna kind of give it a good general data for that. We're gonna be comparing that against another pair of WINSPACE Hyper, the same depth and the same wheels, but I have that as a tube setup with a pair of Continental 5000s, and I have in there a TPU tube, one of the very lightweight tube, 35-gram tube, super lightweight, super performance, but I'm gonna be running that at 120 PSI. And the way that we're going to be doing this is that we're going to be using my power meter pedals that I have here, the Favero Asimoah Duos. Favero actually sent these pedals out to me for my last video I did with the rim depth challenge, shallow versus deep dish. If you guys want, you guys can go check that out later on after the video. This is one of the best power meters out there on the market today. They retail for about $780 for the Duo set. They also make a single set if you want just one-sided for about $580. They make them in a Look and a Shimano based platform. I work in the industry with other power meters as well. This is one of the best power meters out there for the money. So if you guys are looking for a nice, reliable, affordable set of power meter out there and you guys are wondering what you want to do, the Favero Asimoah Duo power meter pedals are a great choice for you. So the way I'm gonna be doing this, we're gonna be running a 5-mile course straight. We're gonna be running at about 200 watts the entire time. And then after that, we're gonna come back here, swap out the wheels and run that same test in the same direction. So that way everything is the exact same. The wheels will be the exact same. The rotors will be the exact same. I'm gonna swap that out on the fly. That way we can get some pretty conclusive data. So hopefully we can pin these two against each other. We can answer the age-old question, tubes versus tubeless. We'll see what the data says today. And maybe we might change me out to get a tubeless guy. So we'll figure that out. So on the tubeless setup right now that I'm riding about 72 PSI. This usually goes against everything that I usually say, but it definitely does feel more comfortable, a little more squishy on the road, it feels like to me. But this test itself is more about speed and what the most efficient there is. I know with tubeless tires, you do get a benefit to comfort, to flat protection. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to subjectiveness. And again, I'm riding at a pretty flat course right now and going straight. A lot of people will also say, well, GC, isn't there a benefit to crit races? I can run a lower tire pressure. I can get into the corners faster. I have more confidence in the turn. I have more confidence in my tire. Yeah, that's the case. I mean, it's all preference, it's all subjective to what the rider is. Back in the day, there used to be a lot of people who used to race at 100 PSI, 120 PSI, and go into those same corners. But we'll figure out what happens. This is a very difficult challenge for me. So if you guys are enjoying the content, like the video. Now I'm doing my best also to keep the exact same posture, not to move my head around. I will say this though, on the tubeless setup, every single bump that I've been hitting feels way more comfortable. I know the biggest thing that people are gonna say is that tubeless tires have a better flat protection rate. But me, again, working in a store, seeing all the bad that comes with tubeless, seeing how many customers get frustrated with it, seeing how many tires go bad. I've been on group rides with my buddies that will ride over the same road. I'm running 120 TPI. I'm running 120 PSI, 700 by 24C cotton tires, plastic tubes. I don't get a flat, they do get flats. Maybe that's accounted to a wider tire and a softer tire is more susceptible to getting flats. I don't know. Just got done with the first 5-mile interval. We finished off at an average power of about 199. The normalized power was 201. dead on where I want to be. I gotta say something though, by no means am I a pro rider. By no means am I fast. I'm just a shop guy trying to give you guys data so that way you guys are educated enough for the next purchase. But 5 miles in, now we're gonna ride back at an easy pace. I'm gonna swap out the wheels to a much needed tube tire for me. Hopefully give me some benefit. I will say the tubeless setup I'm running right now felt very comfortable the entire time. Again, I'm at 72 PSI. It was very, very comfy. Every bump I hit was very, very easy to take. But at some points of the ride, it did feel a little bit bouncy and a little bit squishy. Now, I'm not used to that, so maybe it gets easier or I get used to it more and more. But I'm hoping at the, I think around the 3 or 4 mile mark, placebo started to kick in and I was like, hey, I feel like I'm riding in quicksand. So I'm hoping with this next test, if the numbers are even, I might go to this because of the fact that it is very comfortable. So we'll see. Either there's gonna be a big advantage with the tube version, or they might be dead even, and I might be a believer in tubeless. So we'll find out soon. All right, look. A big part of the reason why I make these comparison videos is because I don't want you guys to waste your money on the wrong equipment. Even if you're in a place where deciding tubed or tubeless doesn't really break the bank, with inflation where it is right now, every single dollar counts. And trust me, I know. I own a bike shop, right? And everybody knows that traditional investments kind of got hammered this year. My stocks for sure. But what if I told you there's an alternative investment to protect your money from inflation and maybe even grow it? Well, that's where my latest partnership, Masterworks, steps in. They provide investment opportunities on contemporary art. It sounds very weird and it's still new to me, but if you think about it, art has shown to benefit from inflation, unlike lots of other assets like stocks and stuff like that. In fact, the last time inflation was this high, it appreciated on average 33%, according to MW All Art Index. That's even more than gold or real estate during that same time period. Here's how Masterworks works. They buy multi-million-dollar paintings from legends like Picasso or Banksy, and they break them into shares so you can invest for a fraction of the cost, which is pretty nice. Then, when a painting sells again, you get your potential return on investment. So far, Masterworks has sold 6 paintings for an average net return of 29%, which is pretty huge, even as most traditional investments are in the red for the year. If I want to make one thing clear, and I stress this a lot, I'm not your financial advisor. With investments, there are inherent risks, so do your homework, please. But there's a reason why Masterworks now has over 500,000 members and even a wait list. But guess what? By using my link in the description below, you get to skip that line. Now, back to the test. Now, time to swap the wheels. That was a good 5 miles, but I'm actually looking forward to getting on something I'm familiar with, the tubes. And unfortunately, I don't have a bike stand here, but luckily I'm a master mechanic that I can overcome any situation that's thrown at me. Lock ring off. And the only way this test was made possible, to be honest with you, was because of WINSPACE being so generous enough to give me 2 pairs of wheels to run this test. So if you guys are interested in a nice pair of affordable wheels, of carbon fiber wheels, check out winspace.tc. They're in my description below. They sell nice, affordable wheels with a premium feel. These wheels alone right here are $1,200. With my discount code GCPerformance10, you can get them for 10% off. And it gives a little kickback to the channel. I was actually just riding back on the way back with a rider who knows me, and he had WINSPACE wheels on. He loved them. They make them in rim brake and also disc brake version. But tried and true, I'm running them right now. They're great wheels. These are, to give you guys a specification on here, these are Continental 5000s, okay? These are not tubeless, these are not the TLs, these are not the STRs, these are just the regular 5000 clinchers. It's a 700 by 25C, and I'm running a Pirelli TPU tube, 35 grams. They're about 75 grams lighter than a normal rubber tube. Very lightweight, reduces rolling resistance, and I'm gonna be running them at 120 PSI as well, just to check them out. All right, so for the tests as well, for the tire pressure, like I said, I'm going to 120. It will be a more firmer ride. It will be more bumpy, but cycling is not about being comfortable in my mind. Cycling is about getting every single benefit that I can for speed, so that way I don't get dropped on the group ride. But again, for reference as well, I'm 200 pounds, which is 99 kilos, I think. So I'm a big boy. So I like air. Air is my friend. Air and speed. All right, tires are mounted on, 120 PSI. We got tube tires and we're at 25 Cs. Just for reference, the last wheels I rode were 700 by 28C with tubeless sealant inside there. So this should, in my mind, be much more efficient, but we'll find out. The bike feels more lively, a lot more lively. Definitely I feel more bumps on the road right now. The other one felt like a Cadillac with air suspension. This one feels like a performance race car with IBAC springs, but man, the bike feels smooth. I feel more one with the road. It's weird. It is a more familiar feeling to me, I know, so it could be biased, but everything about this just feels how a road bike should feel to me. Stiff, fast, responsive. I don't know, I find it easier to stay at 200 though. But again, I'm only 0.5 miles in, so. Oh yeah. Now I can feel them starting to open up a little bit. I'm dead. I do this for you guys. Oh my God, I'm not gonna be able to do nothing. My wife's gonna hate me after this. Just got done with the ride, finished the 5 miles. My average speed for that distance of 5 miles was 23 miles an hour on the dot. And the average power was 199. So the exact same power between both rides for 5 miles. On the Vittorias with the tubeless tires are 22.3 average speed. On the tubes, they're 23. I'll have up there my cadence numbers, my time, everything like that. The times were a little bit different as well. This was only a small sample serving of 5 miles. Obviously, I think the numbers would be more drastic if it was a longer distance. But I even noticed it noticeably faster on the tubes. They felt more in tune with the road, and I really did enjoy that. I didn't get any flats. These are very performance tube base. So I will still probably be sticking with tubes. But I gotta say, maybe if you're crit racing, you want every advantage you can with the tubeless tires, you run a lower tire pressure. Maybe if comfort is your main reason why you ride, obviously tubeless tires there still is a place for it. But nowadays with these rim tracks getting so much wider, you can run a pretty low tire pressure with a tube in there. And you can still get a nice comfy ride with 28s, and these bikes now accepting a 32C tire. So there still is a job out there for tubes. Benefit, I say, is that if I get a flat tire in here, I can change a tube much faster than I can change a tubeless tire because of the fact that I hate dealing with tubeless fluid. But at the end of the day, it's subjective, it's preference. Whatever you're gonna ride, you're gonna ride. Whatever in your mind is gonna be faster too, you're gonna think it's faster. But here with the data, I showed it was 0.3 miles an hour faster. No, sorry, 0.7 miles per hour faster, which is almost 1 whole mile an hour for for the whole distance. So, but thank you guys again so much for watching. I'll put up the Strava times as well on the screen. And thank you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.